Kenya ina wananchi milioni 37. Kulingana na utafiti, idadi ya Wakenya itaongezeka maradufu hadi milioni 80 kufikia mwaka 2030. Kugharamia ongezeko hili itakuwa changamoto kwa sekta ya kilimo kuzalisha 50% zaidi kwa miaka 18 zijazo. Ufugaji kuku imepewa kipeo cha mbele kugharamia hili ongezeko. Taasisi ya utafiti wa kilimo nchini Kenya imekuwa ikifanya utafiti kuhusu kuku wa kienyeji tangu mwaka wa 2000.
My name is Okitoi. I'm the Center Director of Kakamega Center, Kalro Center. Now, this is Non-Ruminant Research Institute headquarters. Non-Ruminant Research Institute is headquartered in Kakamega, and this Kalro was formed through an Act of Parliament in 2014, and the Act of Parliament created institutes, and the institutes in Kalro are theme-based, and the theme of non-ruminant research is headquartered here in Kakamega. Now, our main mandate here is on non-ruminants. Non-ruminants, we are talking of chicken, or rather poultry, we are talking of pigs, we are talking of rabbits, we are talking of crocodiles, we are talking of donkeys. Those are non-ruminants in general. Now, when you look at the non-ruminants, they are very prolific. They are prolific in that they produce very fast. They regenerate very fast. Therefore, for us, what we think is that the next revolution in agriculture is going to come from the non-ruminants. And our mandate is to develop the knowledge, innovation, and technology that will support the non-ruminant research in the country, in Kenya. And therefore, our goal is basically to generate wealth for farmers and the general population. And we generate wealth. This bird is, we have one bird, we have done the selection and we have settled on 2 colors so far. This is the Kanga color and then the black color. Now, we realize that as we are selecting, these colors, 2 colors were dominant, and we have retained it. But we are in the process, we have already gone around the country to determine which is the best color that is suitable for the entire country. Because we in Kenya, we are diverse. There are those fellows who don't like black. There are others who don't like white. There are others who don't like which color. So we've done a survey and established the color that the bird will take. So the eventual color of the Kalro improved indigenous chicken, we are going to fix it in the very near future. But meanwhile, this bird, we are disseminating it across the country. It's in very high demand. One of the best things about this bird is we have retained the normal Kienyeji taste. It's completely different from these other birds that we talk about that they are Kienyeji. It's completely different. And the demand for this bird is overwhelming. Like, we are booked like now up to the end of October. Every hatch that we produce here has been booked. And that's why, as Kalro, we have decided to disseminate further this bird because of its its usefulness to the community. I'll tell you the value of this bird. Yeah? Take for example a hen, just a Kienyeji hen. Even that one that produces about 45 eggs. If in a year, if you set all those eggs, you are likely to hatch about 40 chicks in a year. And those 40 chicks, if you grow them, you are likely to sell about that. The rest will die to the hawk, to the predator, and so forth, and to the disease. Therefore, one hen in a year gives you 30 mature hens and cocks. And when you translate that into money, the current price of a mature hen or a mature Kienyeji hen is about 600 shillings. Therefore, you are talking of about 600 times 30, that's 18,000 chickens. So from one hen, you can get, when you see a local hen walking around in the village, you are seeing about 18,000. And we have 20, 25 in households. Therefore, the importance of this of chicken is the fact that it generates a lot of income to the small-scale farmers. And take, for example, 18,000 hens. Average in Kenya, a day school. The school fees in a day school is about 17,000 or 17,000 in a year. That tells you that a hen can actually take a student to school for a complete year. So if you have 2 children, just have 2 chickens. You're done. You're home and dry for a day school. That's a different story. So that's the importance of this thing. The other importance of this bird is the fact that we have retained, when you consume, the eating habits have actually changed now. The eating habits, people are running away from red meat. They are getting into white meat because of our climate change and the diseases that we have around the community. Therefore, the chicken meat will provide you with enough omega fatty acids that are very critical in the immunity of our bodies. So when you're looking at omega, the omegas, they are readily found in this indigenous bird and also on the Kalro improved indigenous birds. That's why this bird is so popular than the other birds, the other indigenous birds that we have around. So Kienyeji improved. We are talking of the Kalro improved indigenous birds. But farmers have also done their own improvements. They cross every Tom, Dick and Harry from wherever they get it. It may or it may not be improved. But basically, if the father and the mother are from an improved breed, then that also is good. But you may not call that one the improved indigenous. Indigenous has to come from within the locality. So when you call an Indian bird an indigenous bird.
Okay, you said that the improved Kienyeji, you tried and retained the same taste that the normal Kienyeji has. What about the eggs? Because most people say that the eggs of a normal Kienyeji are tastier and have more nutritional value compared to the other eggs. Does the improved Kienyeji have the same nutritional value when it comes to egg and taste as the normal Kienyeji?
Yes. First of all, an egg is an egg. Whether it is from Europe, from Kericho, it's an egg. That's the difference, is the taste. Yeah? That's where the difference is. Now, when I'm talking of retaining the taste of the Kienyeji, the Kienyeji taste. I'm talking of the products, both the meat and the eggs. That is retained. Yeah? Okay. The other thing, there's a misconception about the color of the yolk. Yeah? That's a misconception because the color of the yolk goes with the food that you feed the chicken. You can actually change the color of the skin of the bird or the color of the yolk of the egg by literally feeding with carotene. If you get your sukuma and feed it to your chickens, the end product is going to be much more yellow than the normal bird. So some farmers are branding yellow-skinned chicken. They brand. That's okay for us because you get extra carotene from the yellow bird. But basically, the taste is retained for both eggs and.
There's also this other misconception where people say that the white-shelled egg is better than the other colors. Is it brown? The other eggs have a different color of the shell. So most people say that I can buy an egg that has a white shell at 20 shillings, but if it doesn't have that, then the nutritional value is also not as good. Is that
true? The shell of the egg is actually genetic. Yeah? It's carried from the parents. And the shell of the egg basically is a shell. It covers the egg content inside. What you normally say that people prefer brown or white is just your preference. But an egg is an egg. We have hybrids across the world that produce white shells. We have others that produce even black shells. Others that produce tinted. Tinted is between brown and white. So the color of the shell does not affect the content of the egg inside in terms of quality. It's your own perception, the way you perceive that egg. And when you look at, if you compare a white-shelled egg and a brown-shelled egg, my own perception also tells me that the white one is a bit weaker than the brown one. That's not true. That's just purely perception. Yeah. So shells is genetic, depends on your preference. If you want white, you just get the white. If you want brown, you get the brown. And for us, the Kalro improved indigenous chicken, we have a tinted kind of color between white and brown.
I've noticed most of the chicken are very healthy, but there are those hens there that zinakulana manyoya. I think that is what is happening. What might be causing that?
No, it's certainly wanakulana manyoya. The fact is that when you get to a breeding flock, for the cock to breed, it must mount. Yeah? If it mounts once or twice in a day, that portion, the feathers are removed. So you'll find most of the feathers are removed at the back of the hands. That's the work of the cock. Okay. That tells you that that cock is functioning. The current two breeds of the Kalro improved indigenous chickens are a dual purpose. Dual, that is both for meat and for eggs. Yeah? What do I mean? They produce a good number of eggs. And if you put it on the table, it will also fetch. Compared to a layer, a commercial layer, a commercial hybrid layer, once it has laid, it may not be very suitable for meat. But this one, after laying, is quite good for meat. So this is a dual purpose bird, and we are developing very soon. We shall have two other breeds, one purely for meat and one purely for eggs. So here we met the priorities of the farmers. The farmers were looking for a dual-purpose bird, a bird that can graze, because they were afraid of completely confining the bird. Let this bird also do what? Graze outside there. So this particular Kalro improved indigenous bird is also a very good grazer. So you can supplement your feeding from the grazing outside there. So you don't necessarily confine it completely. If you want to save feed, it will still go out and graze. But the exotic hybrids hardly graze. What we are talking about, the Kalro improved indigenous chicken, it is from indigenous blood. And indigenous blood, first of all, it's resistant to most of the diseases. And that's a climate issue. It also grows faster, which means you can beat some of the climate issues. And then it also reproduces faster, because 280 eggs per hen per year. That's a very high prolificacy. And therefore, those are the things that we are looking for in a climate. When you're talking of something that's climate smart, you are beating the climate. Yeah? You are smarter than the climate. That's what it means. So, as in the case of project, it's not Kalro that chose. It is the farmers that prioritize the Kalro improved indigenous chicken, or rather indigenous chicken as a value chain that will help them to put more money in the pocket, because our main focus is to reduce poverty and reduce hunger.
Runinga yako ipendayo ya MKTV, ukiwa nami na hodha wako Haji Abdul, nikikuletea kipindi cha Taarab, jahazi la Taarab, kila siku ya Ijumaa kuanzia mwendo wa saa 8 hadi saa 9 kamili. Kumbuka, hapo ndipo utakapopata mawaidha ama jengo ama mafunzo ambayo yanaweza kutujenga sisi kama wanandoa na sisi ambao tuko katika mahusiano mbalimbali ya kimapenzi. Nalia kwa uchungu, haina wakufikiru. Na hapo utapata burudani ya kukosha moyo, burudani ya taarab ambayo imekomaa na ikafika shule. Naam, usikose, kosa uchekwe.
Ulidhani mtateseka, mwingine sitompata, ameondoka unacheka, leo unapapatika.
Sanaa ni uti wa mgongo wa kila jamii. Basi MKTV channel imekuandalia awamu ya msanii wa sanaa ambayo itakwenda kujia kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia milango ya saa 1 hadi saa 3 usiku. Ungana nami mzee mzima Moses Mshairi ndani ya MKTV channel.
the ratio of
Fanya hivi kama nitaanza. Yeah, poultry production is an enterprise that is done by many. The reason behind that is it's very easy to start the poultry. Very easy to start. If you are a local lady in the village and you want to start chicken, you don't have to accumulate so much money to start the chicken. Just send your daughter or your son to the auntie, the other side. They will come with a hen or a cock, and that's the starting point. So it's very easy to start. It requires very little capital. And also, when it comes in terms of the structures, we are saying that poultry structures should be as cheap as possible because we want to maximize profits. Now, the poultry house must not be pure stone. But if you can afford a pure stone, that's very good. But a poultry house, let me describe a poultry house. The floor must not be cement. But if you can just ram the floor so that it's hard enough to have sawdust so that the cocks or the chickens can walk on, that's good enough. The wall can be from any material. What's the wall for? It's just to control the environment inside the poultry house. So it can be iron sheet, it can be mud, it can be offcuts, whatever it is, whatever you can afford. Yeah? As long as you construct that house with specific minimums. One of the minimum that you should have as a rule of thumb is that you should always have the correct density. The density in a poultry house must be, if there are mature birds, must be at least 5 to 6 birds per meter square. So if you have like 100 chicks, how much is that? That's about 20 meters square, a house of 4 meters by 5. So that's the rule of thumb. Rule of thumb number 2, on the height of the house. The height of the house, you'll determine from your height. Because you are the one who's going to operate in that house. The house should allow you to operate, feed, and walk around freely without straining. Yeah? If you have a short house and you are tall, you'll definitely have a problem getting inside that house. So the height will depend on your height. The other rule of thumb is that the width of the house must not go beyond 10 meters. The length can be as long as you can go. Kilometers and kilometers, if you want. But the width must not go beyond 10 meters. Why 10 meters? Is 10 meters, it will be difficult for any ventilation to be achieved within that house. And then the other thing is, in the house, ensure that you have proper feeders. We have what we call the Naivasha feeder. It's a Kalro technology, which will minimize what? Spillage of feed. Because it's a long feeder and it has a lip. It has a lip so that when the hens pick the feed, very little comes out. When you look at that Naivasha feeder compared to the feeders that we have on the market, there's a lot of wastage of feed with these other feeders. So ensure that you come to Kalro, we have designs. You don't have to buy. We can give you a design you produce yourself from your tinsmith, so that you have a minimum wastage of feed because after all, it's the most expensive element in poultry production. So a good number, about 30% of the feed that most farmers feed using these other feeders goes to waste. It's wasted on the floor. And we are also saying that if you use these other ordinary feeders, then probably the end product that you have in manure could go into formulating dairy meal for your dairy cows, because it has some waste feed from the feeders, and then it also has what we call the non-protein nitrogen urea from the urine of the chicken. So, and that is very good feed for your dairy cows. At the moment, we are saying that we have 2 hatcheries for Kalro, one in Naivasha, our center in Naivasha, and the other one in Kakamega. But if you go to any Kalro center across the country, you can be able to put your bookings there, and the chicks will reach you appropriately. Just go to the, and the Kalro, we are about 56 centers spread across the country. Garissa, wherever it is, you'll get a center, Kalro center. So that's the first point of demand if you want chickens. Secondly, we also have a website, yeah, in Kalro, where you can actually book directly with us. And then thirdly, I'll give you the number that you can dial, and it will come to us, you can book. And then thirdly, if we don't have, we'll refer you to our multipliers, whom we have walked the talk. And we know that the Kalro bird that they are producing is actually ours. Because what we have learned is there are so many Kalro birds out there, but there's only one Kalro bird. So people are taking advantage of the brand Kalro and calling anything that is Kienyeji, I have a Kalro bird. But essentially when you look at it, it's not the Kalro indigenous bird. So we'll refer you to a multiplier who will give you the Kalro improved birds. We are not saying these other birds are bad. They serve along the value chain. But why don't we recommend you the best? If you want the best, come for the Kalro improved indigenous chicken. One chick goes for 100 shillings. If we raise it for you, sometimes you don't have the capacity to brood them. We can brood them for 1 month, and we'll sell you at 250 shillings a chick. We can also raise it for 2 months. When it reaches 2 months, we sell you at 450 shillings a chick. But we highly recommend that you better start with 1 day old, because if you start later, the productivity of that bird will be affected by the environment it started the brooding. So if the environment of brooding is poor, then the result is going to be poor. So you don't know the source of brooding. But for our Kalro birds, we have fantastic performance reports of the birds. The meat is different from the one that is purely confined. But basically, if you slaughter the Kalro Kienyeji bird at 16 weeks, it has the tenderness that you want. Yeah? Okay, and then the other beautiful thing about this bird is that it doesn't grow that big. The maximum it will go is, for a cock, is about 3 kilos and a half. Yeah? And the maximum for a hen is 2 kilos and a half. That's a good enough hen. Then one of the factors that we considered when we were selecting for that weight is the fact that when you have a mature bird and you want to do commercial dissemination in an oven, a rolling oven, definitely this large bird will not fit into that oven. So we selected this, the right size of the bird that will fit into that oven, and you're in business. And we have a number of young men now and women getting into poultry production up to consumption level. If you go to universities, you go to Masinde Muliro University, just outside the university, there's a lot of chicken being slaughtered there and consumption and being consumed. Likewise, I'm talking about Masinde Muliro because that's the closest we have around. We also have Maseno University, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. If you ask the young people there, what is your next source of income, is from roasting the meats. We have technologies also on value addition. We have disseminated the technologies on value addition such that we tell them how to roast the Kalro improved. I'm talking about Kalro improved because that's the best we have on the market right now. Everybody is looking for Kalro improved indigenous chicken. Open a newspaper on a Saturday. If you don't find in one page almost half the words are Kalro improved. Yeah? Half the words in that page, particularly the agriculture page, is Kalro improved indigenous chicken. It's because we collaborate with a number of institutions like the media. We are now starting to ensure that this bird is marketed properly, disseminated properly with the correct information. For every bird that you buy from Kalro, we don't just let you go with that bird. We sit you down, explain to you what you need to do with them. If you have any question before farmers go home, they are trained on what they should be doing. And then we leave them with our contacts and we backstop them now and again. Together with our extension colleagues, I think we have a wonderful collaboration. We have 47 counties in Kenya. Yeah? Talk to them and ask them what is your priority value chain, your priority agricultural value chain. Yeah? There's only 4 counties that have not prioritized indigenous chicken. The rest have prioritized indigenous chicken. So it is something that will change the lives of many of our communities. It can take a secondary school boy or a girl to school. 1 hen is equivalent to 1 year. For a whole year, that hen that boy will learn in school from 1 hen. That is an economic advantage. And then when we are talking about value addition, we have at Kalro, we have identified our flocks such that we know that this bird is from Nandi, for example, or from Kericho. And we encourage our farmers to brand them according to where they come from so that we can trace. Yeah? We can trace that if you go to a hotel and eat an indigenous bird, like if you went to Golf Hotel and you felt like you need to trace that bird, you'll be told, yes, that bird came from Siaya, this village, and so forth. And then number 2, on value addition, we are talking about adding value to the products. One of the value addition that we have, for example, for the eggs, is ensuring that you sell fertile eggs. Fertile eggs is a value added. Yeah? And then we also teach them how to select so that they can compete favorably in the markets out there. I'm sure if you go to a supermarket, they prefer a uniform size, and we advise them on that. When it comes to meat parts, yeah, we tell farmers how to cut which piece and which piece. Here in Western Kenya, if you are talking about the parts of a chicken, you can, and you have visitors, for example, there's a part that you may not give to a visitor. Like if you have a husband in the house, you should know which leg you are going to serve your husband, whether it's the left leg or the right leg. Yeah? Yeah? So it's that, is that serious. such that on the market now, if you went to the market, you'll find we have encouraged farmers to open butcheries and sell the chicken not whole, but in parts. You'll get the wings, you'll get the gizzards, you'll get the necks, you'll get the legs, you'll get the necks, you'll get the what we call in Western indumbos alone, and that's really nice. In terms of post-harvest handling, we've taught them on how to cook, and there's a specific time that we give for you to cook. If you have enough heat and then you cook after a certain time, it would have cooked. We have determined for the Kalro improved indigenous chicken how long you should cook, the cookability of that bird.
Mradi wa KARI kuhusu kuku wa kienyeji ni muhimu kwa ruwaza ya 2030 na ni mojawapo wa njia ambazo zitawezesha wakulima wa kawaida kujinufaisha kwa sekta ya ufugaji kuku. Unaweza wasiliana na taasisi ya Kenya ya utafiti wa kilimo kwa nambari zifuatazo.